Taehyung baby, my friend and I were walking to school. Today is our first day of school, so it's kind exciting. Well, it's even not more exciting for me because I got to see my crush after like 2 months for not seeing him. Yes, him. Yes, it is a boy, and yes, you did not read it wrong. No, I love this boy ever since I saw him in my year, but he wear mask every day, so I don't even know what he looks like now. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what he sound like, but I only know his name, John Jungkook. Some people say he got an accident that made a scare on his face. Most of the students say that he probably will look really handsome. He would always wear mask and his body bangs would cover up his eye, which basically make his whole face covered. We finally arrived at school and my friends want to their lover while I just want to mine. When I reached to my locker, I looked around hoping to find Jungkook, and I did. As oh my gosh, he looks different. He's new is making me fall for him even harder. I just looked at him just about 5 lockers down away from mine. I got back to my sense when someone got in the way. I put my attention back to my locker and grabbed the book. Oh, if you all thought I am popular in school, you are right. But this school has rule that I love so much that the fangirl won't bother me. One day, the fangirl mobbed me, and the principal got furious and made a new rule. When it was finally lunchtime, I dashed out of the classroom and went to the cafeteria to find my friends. I finally found my friends and went to the table and sat them with them. Hey, Jacob said us be bro first together and take my small snack out. So you saw him today? He looks even more handsome, Jimin said, referring to Jungkook, making me glare at him. Yeah, he is always handsome. And don't make me tell Youngie what you said. I said, glaring at him, and Jimin immediately went quiet. I sang and ate my chips as I looked around the cafeteria and saw Jungkook getting his food, then looked in our direction and immediately looked away, then left the cafeteria. I finally finished eating my small snack, but still feel hungry, so I continued taking to my friends until I don't feel like taking. When I finally felt like not taking, I excused myself and threw my dress away and left the lunchroom. I made my way to the classroom and opened the door and saw that Jungkook had finished his lunch. I went my seat and sat down. I pulled my phone out. I got bored and put my phone away and looked around just to see no one but Jungkook. I looked at him carefully and noticed that he was sleeping. I smiled softly as I continued looking at him. I noticed that Jungkook is walking up, so I looked back out of the window next to me and looked at the view outside. Suddenly, I felt a tap on my shoulders as I turned to see Jungkook in front of me. Oh, I almost crushed until his hand me some things. I looked down at his hand to see a box. Inside there is meat and a slide of snacks. He also handed me something, and I looked to see the same chips that I was eating earlier. He slyly handed the chips to me as I grabbed the lunchbox in my hand and grabbed the chips. I looked back to see Jungkook still standing there, and it looked like he wanted to say something but too shy to say it. Thank you, I said, smiling at him, and he nodded, then started his fingers. I looked at the food he gave me. He started and looked up to him, smiling. It seems like he relaxes when I smile at him. He sang and again started taking while I started at his admiring face. I noticed you only had a snack's lunch, Jungkook said sadly as I pointed my eyes. I nodded and started to eat my lunch as he went back to his seat. His voice, it's deeper than I thought. How it's gonna sound like? I smile and continue eating. I can feel someone looking at me, but I ignore it and happily eat my food. When I'm done eating, I stood up and grabbed the box and walked out to where my crush was. I noticed that he was too focused with reading. I smiled at his concentration and put the lunchbox next to him, and he noticed it and looked up. Um, thanks, I said nervously, and he nodded back. I walked back to my seat and pulled out my phone and texted my friend about what happened earlier. Yeah, I can't believe this. He is real. What? It's better be important. Handy, Taehyung, Momo, I can't be. It's his crush. That secretly. So basically, what happened is that I walked to my classroom and sat in my seat. After a few minutes, Jungkook came to me and gave me a lunchbox because he noticed that I didn't eat much at lunch. Oh my, good. Today you are. I put my phone away, which I noticed other student coming into the classroom. I took a last look at Jungkook and felt heat rushing through my cheeks as I smiled looking down. Jungkook POV. After giving Taehyung a lunchbox, I felt like my chest was going to explode. I looked at him the whole time when he was eating, and I felt relieved that he was eating well. I took out of my book and started reading a new chapter, and I didn't notice that Taehyung was coming to me. Suddenly, I saw a lunchbox placed next to my elbow. I looked up to see Taehyung smiling at me. Thanks, he said, something like he's nervous. I nodded at him and watched him going back to his seat. I smiled when I saw the lunchbox was empty. After the classroom is almost empty, I walked out of the class to see an empty hallway with some people in the hallway going to their club. I walked to my locker and put my stuff inside. Then I shut the door, closed and swung my backpack around my shoulders. I walked out of the school entrance and walked home. When I got further away from my school, I took off my mask and myself a bag and sighed in relief. That felt good, I whispered as I finally breathed in the air and could see clearly. I went to the nearby cafe to get a food and drink as I could hear my stomach loudly and my throat feel dry. I went inside the cafe and walked up to the chairs. After ordering, I went to an empty table and rolled scrolling thought my phone. When I heard my name being called, I went up to the counter and grabbed my food and drink and went back to my seat. I sat back down and looked around and saw a familiar finger. My eyes and looked to the other side. I crushed under my breath. Why is why is he here? I thought and stroked my hair to cover my eyes and grabbed my mask from my pocket and put it on, but leave it off one ear, which makes my mask facing towards the familiar finger. I sip my drinks and take a glare if he has left, and no, he isn't. I sign frustratedly that he won't even leave. I took a glance again to a familiar finger and widened my eyes as I saw my brother. Cause no, he will come to me if he see me. I prayed that he won't come to me, but luck was not on my side. Hey Jungkook, I heard my brother calling from me, and I looked up to my brother with his finger that I was just trying to hide myself from. Oh hey, Hyung, I said, and they sat across me and the familiar finger within his eyes. Yo, Jungkook, he yelled, and I took at him, confused, and within my eyes realized that my mask is off. Oh, I see you still cover your identity to school. Well, that's good, but if you don't know each other, which you all probably do, Jimin, this is my brother Jungkook. Jungkook, this is my soon-be-to boyfriend Jimin, Yoongi said as Jimin lightly slapped him in the shoulder as he blushed, and I smiled at them. Yoongi, look at me, and his elbow. Hey Jungkook, it's just that your hair is getting on my nerves. Like, how is the? Do they not get in your eyes? Youngie, his elbow as I roll my eyes, and believe me, it says. I struck my hair away from my face as Jimin stared at me with widened eyes. Man, I know that you would be handsome, but I didn't know you are that handsome, Jimin said as Youngie glared at him, and I giggled. I ate my food and sipped my drink as Jimin begged Youngie to stop ignoring him. I stood up from my seat, making them turn to me. Well, I'll get home. I'll let mom know you'll be home later, I said, and Youngie nodded, and I left the cafe. I went home shocked that literally my crush close friend saw my real face. Well, let's see from tomorrow. Jimin POV. After Jungkook left the cafe, I looked at Yoongi and saw him potting Hyung. I just said that to compliment him. I went and Yoongi and looked at me and picked my nose. Fine, you are lucky. I really love you. I can't smile and blush at his word. I love you too. I can't wait to tell Taehyung that I actually saw his face, I said excitedly, and Yoongi chuckled at my childness. I pulled out my phone and went to message Taehyung as Yoongi looked over my shoulders to see the text. Taehyung. Taehyung, what? Jimin. Better be important. It's maybe or maybe anyway. It's about Jungkook. Taehyung, Jungkook. OMG, he is important. What happened? Is he okay? Jimin, yes, he is okay. Nothing happened to him. Anyway, I saw him at the cafe and OMG. What? What, Jimin? Jimin, you lucky. I'm in love with Yoongi more than Jungkook. Why? What happened? Jimin, I saw his like real face. Taehyung, no. What does he looks like? Park Jimin, answer me. You got a big Jimin chill. Anyway, he looks like I don't even how to describe, but you can ask Yoongi since they are brother. Taehyung, what? They are brother? Jimin, yeah. So see you later, my future brother-in-law. Taehyung, Jimin, call cut. Yoongi hands me my phone, smirking, making me look back at the message, and they text each other. I laugh at the end and put my phone away. Yoongi Hyung, You are really the best. I wrapped my arms around his neck and was about to pick his lips when I saw him forming his eyebrow. I mean, Seung. Sorry, he smiled and picked my lips. Taehyung baby. No, why the Park Jimin got to see his face reveal before I do. I burned my face into the pillow. I screamed. I can feel my face burning up with anger just because he got to see Jungkook a face and he won't leave. Tell me what he looks like. Is this somewhat move what no one will spoil it? I groaned as I picked my phone up and smiled and plus at least Jungkook's brother calming me as his brother-in-law. I scrolling around my bed and jumping around my room. Okay, time to go. Okay, time to go to do my homework and sleep. I thought and started doing what my mind says. I woke up with enough energy and got ready for school. I walked out of my house and walked to school. I saw Jimin in front of me and I ran to him and hopped on his back. I laughed at him. He fell on the ground. He pointed clear at me and I stooped up and wiped the dust off his clothes. You are walking with me, right? He asked, making me phone. We always walk together, nothing new, I said, and he nodded, pulled out his phone and texted someone. Well, someone will be walking with us, Jimin said, and that made me curious. Who? I asked very curiously, and Jimin smirked. Oh, the Jian brother, he said, and that made me think for a second and wiped my eyes as I know what he means. I pulled out of my phone. I went to the camera and checked myself and fixed my hair. He laughed at me and I glared at him. When I think I look perfect to impress one of the Jian brother that I love so dearly, I put my phone away very satisfied that I was born handsome. I need to make a note to thank my parents for giving me this look. I followed Jimin since we are going to their house and he know the way. We made it to the location and we walked to the front door and Park rang the doorbell. The door opened, revolving Yongi. He smiled when he saw Jimin and turned to me. Oh, you Taehyung? He asked and I felt nervousness going my body. Don't be an. He is just his brother. Yes, I replied nervously and Yongi just chuckled and Jimin was trying to hold back his laugh. It's okay, I don't bad, he said and then, having not realized that I was holding my breath. Well, Jungkook is just almost ready. He needs to. Suddenly, a female voice yelled across the house. John Youngie, have your brother getting ready and let those poor kids inside the house. I assume that it's his mom yelling at Youngie, and he winced at the yelling. He opened the door wider for us to get inside, and we did. I looked around the house to see some childhood picture of Young and Jungkook. I smiled at the picture of little Jungkook that he got younger and around his mouth holding a spoon. Jimmy noticed that I was staring at little Jungkook picture and nodded at my side, making my glare at him. What? We can't just stand here, he whispered, and I rolled my eyes. No, that he was right. Mrs. Jian led us to the living room and we sat on the couch. We While we waited for the giant brother to get ready for the school, suddenly one of the brothers ran down the stairs almost falling, and we looked up to see Jungkook in the rush. Suddenly his back is facing us, so I couldn't see his face. I could tell that he was stuffing pancakes in his mouth and almost choking on it, and his mom scolded him for choking as she gave him his mask. Jungkook took the mask and drank the milk so we could easily swallow the pancake in his mouth and put it on the mask as his mom fixed his hair. Goodness gracious, John Jungkook, you need to get a haircut. His mom again scolded him while Jungkook was making me smile at their family bond and Jungkook's cuteness with his mom. Youngie walked down to stare with Jungkook book bag in his hand and his own book bag in the other hand. Me and Jimin sat up and walked up their direction, and Youngie called for Jungkook and handed him his backpack, and Jungkook took it and swagged it on his shoulders. We walked out of the house while Jungkook and I had become a third wheel already. I tried to steady my breathing because the couple was in front of us and Jungkook was walking next to me. I put my hand inside my jacket as I felt the urge to hold his hands. When Jimin and Yoongi is already ahead of us, that is like 6 meters away from us, I sang and I was trying to think of what I was gonna say. So, Jungkook, right? I finally started and looked at his direction and he nodded. I that he didn't say anything. I had nothing else to say without us or me knowing. Jimin took a glance at us. We slowly walked as we didn't say anything. I looked at him and wondered why he would wear a mask. So I heard that Jimin saw your face. I asked and Jungkook flinched. Then I suddenly talked. Oh, yeah, he said and was about to throw hands at Yoongi when he at Jungkook, starting a chuckle has sinus and Jungkook plus, which I sadly didn't notice. I'm really curious what you look like, and he won't even tell me. But he said, "Is that you have?" I said, parting. I didn't get enough information, and Jungkook glanced at me, and I smiled under his mask. Yoongi felt for college when we pressed by the campus building, so Jimin is now walking next to me and playing around with me. Hey Jungkook, didn't you know that Taehyung? I slapped the back of his hand before he could embarrass me. I looked at Jungkook softly, smiled at him and put my arms around his shoulder. It's nothing, Jungkook, don't worry about it. I reassured him and he nodded, and I noticed the red stuff on his skin that he's not covering by his mask or hair. I kept my arms around his shoulders and continued to chat with Jimin, and we made sure that Jungkook wasn't alone. It's lunchtime, and I also needed to make a note again for my mom to thank her for not forgetting to make me lunch. I want to everywhere I have already said since I came here. I sat on my regular seat and waited for Jimin. I heard two trash cans on the table in front of me, making me look up. Jimin and Jungkook sat in front of me. Jimin burped in his food into his mouth while Jungkook had no idea how to eat his food without showing his identity. Jimin noticed and wondered his eyes. Oh, Jimin crashed as he stooped and dragged Jungkook and there they out of the cafeteria, making me confused and jealous. Obviously, Jimin know his face, so why would I be jealous just because I didn't? I sign and continue eating. Jimin POV. I dragged Jungkook to classroom where no one is. I place a tray on the desk and sit in front of my tray while Jungkook sits in front of his. What about Taehyung? He asked, and I turned to him, assumed he'll just be alone, but isn't okay. We'll just go back when you are done. He nodded and looked around to see if anyone was there. After searching the room and window, he finally took his mask off and brushed his hair back with his hand and started eating his food and widened his eyes. Oh my god, this is so good. How come I never tried this? Jungkook exclaimed. I chuckled. It's a new lunch meal, I said, and he nodded. Hey, I have a question, I said, and he turned to me curiously. Do you perhaps like and I like me in love with Taehyung? I said, mixing the words up. I noticed that his cheeks flushed red and he smiled with his lips closed. Oh, but you haven't answered my question, I said teasingly, and he looked down. Yeah, he finally answered, and I chose yes. I can't wait to tell Minhyung about this. We continue eating and chatting until he is done eating. When Jungkook was done eating, well, we finished at the same time. We stood up and Jungkook adjusted his hair and put his mask on, and we left the classroom. We arrived at the cafeteria and put our tray away and went to where Taehyung is, and he looked so damn and lonely, like he just got kicked out of his friends group, which made me feel bad. We walked towards him and took our seats across from him. He clumsily looks up at us. He potted and continued eating his food. I'm sorry, Taehyung, but you know Jungkook just has to be private, I said, and Taehyung slowly nodded and continued eating. I said, noticing that Taehyung is not a mood that he will be upset until you give him something. I noticed that Jungkook was digging his backpack and he took out something which seemed to say cake on the table. I smiled teasingly. I noticed that Jungkook's face went red and Taehyung happily took it and ate it. Thank you, Jungkook, Taehyung said, and Jungkook nodded and edged away at the scenes in front of me. I had my grin with a smirk and Taehyung quickly finished and he gone. That was so good, he said, and rubbed his full tummy and gave the rest to Jungkook. The bell rang, telling that the next class is starting. We stood up from our seats and went to a classroom. Jungkook baby left the school and went home. As I was walking home, someone suddenly dragged me to an alley and pushed me to the wall. I went at the pain of my back and looked up and my eyes, and I saw the familiar finger in front of me. John Jungkook, is that you? He said, smirking at me. They are my bullies from my old school. They bully me just because of how I look and where I came from. I stood there, Player Joe, and I saw the people of my nightmares that I don't want to see again. He smirked and he lifted his hand and took off my mask and he laughed. I told you guys, it's him. They are laughing and walked closer to me. Each step they took made me feel more and more small. I looked down as I am still scared of them. Then suddenly I felt pain on my cheeks. My head in the side and I felt tears falling down my face. You shouldn't have told us you went to a different school. It was so boring without you, he said coldly, and I sniffed as the pain. He grinned my hair and lifted my head to make me look at him. You as a crock, you broke lost how to rule. He threw me down to the floor and started beating me up. Youngie PUB. I was walking with Jimin and Taehyung. Suddenly we heard sobbing and grunts. We looked to our side and saw a finger on the floor that looked like he went to Jimin and Taehyung's school because of their uniform. Hey, what are you doing? He yelled and they looked up and ran away. I ran towards the finger on the floor. I wanted my eyes when I saw Jungkook being all burnished, cuts and blood from his mouth. Jungkook, I yelled and sat on the knees, looked down at him. He weakly looked at me as he panted. Hyung, he said, and I put my arms around him and he buried his face in my chest. I stared his face. I looked at the others, see them suddenly behind me, making me sign a relief that they looked clueless and Taehyung has not seen his face. One of you guys called the taxi, I demanded, and Taehyung called the taxi while I carried Jungkook and he burned his face more into my chest. Jimin looked at Jungkook and gasped. I looked at him and he nodded. He took off his jacket and gently wrapped his arms around Jungkook. Taehyung came back. The taxi will be there in 2 minutes. We finally made it to the hospital and carried Jungkook inside. The nurse immediately got to the bed. I laid him down on the bed and they ran off while there three of us sat on the chair. After 10 minutes, the doctor came out. John Jungkook, we all stood up and went to the doctor. Jungkook luckily had that he doesn't have broken bones, but he has severe burns on his body that he won't able to move much because it's all hurt. The doctor explained as a sign of relief. The doctor only let me inside because I'm his brother, and I closed the door behind me and walked towards Jungkook's bed. I next to Jungkook as he looked at me. My moment, Jungkook, you are still getting bullied in your old school. I was disappointing in my tongue. He got transferred 5 minutes because of bullying. Our mom said that. He looked away, feeling bad, and I signed and held his hand. It's okay, Jungkook. You can tell me whenever are you ready. Just don't hide it forever, I said, and he nodded, smiling at little. I set my backpack on my lap and digged out inside. I pulled out a mask and held it to Jungkook. Jungkook gasped it and carefully put it on, but his nose is showing. I left the room and asked the doctor if the others could come in, and he said yes. I went to Taehyung and Jimin and saw them sitting on chairs. Hey, you guys come on in. As soon as I said that, Taehyung stood up and ran to Jungkook's room. Me and Jimin chuckled and I went to sit next to Jimin as he laid his head on my shoulder. How is he? Jimin asked softly. I asked, and he is doing fine, just one burnish. I answered exhaustedly, and he mumbled, and I hold my hand to comfort me. I smiled and kissed Jimin's forehead, and he giggled. Shouldn't we see Jungkook? I asked. Let Taehyung have a moment with him, he said, and I agreed. Taehyung POV. After Yoongi said that we can finally go to his room, I stood up and ran to his room, being carefully with my. I stood in front of the door and I took a deep breath and entered the room. I closed the door behind me and looked up to see Jungkook on the bed looking at the window. I admired him as I walked to the bed and I grabbed the chair and sat next to Jungkook. I bet on the chair. He turned to my direction as if he just noticed I was here. I noticed that his mask is not fully on because I could see his cute nose, which makes me smile. Taehyung, Jungkook called out nervously and was shocked to see only me and not the others. I hummed for him to continue as he picked his skin. I noticed that he was picking his finger and it made me anxious. Where are the others? He sadly asked, still picking with his skin. I admire him. Oh, I don't know, I answered and had enough. I grabbed one Jungkook's hand and hold them tight and leave it like that. You should stop doing that. It will damage your skin. I called softly and Jungkook blushed and nodded. The I noticed the red blush on his nose and his mark. Jungkook, you are blushing. I teased him and noticed that the red nose got redder and he looks away. No, no, he sadly said and chuckled. That's fine. Him and I rubbed my thumbs on the back of his head. Then the silence took over, not awkward silence, but a comfortable silence. It was relaxing and peaceful. Taehyung, he called and I looked up to him. What do you think I would look like? He asked me and I thought for a moment. Well, since Yoongi said that you have freckles, so I think you would have freckles, but I'm not sure if you actually have it because I couldn't see it. I pout and Jungkook giggled. I do have. I would like to show you my face without my mask, but need my brother permission, Jungkook said, and I sat up and said, well, I'll be on my knee if he say no, I said, and he giggled, which sounds like music to my ears. I smiled at his giggle and chats. Then someone entered the room, making us look at the door. Hey guys, Jimin greeted me while entering with Yoongi. Hey, I greeted back and let go of Jungkook's hand, which made him within I could only hear. I look at him, smirking again, and he looks down, blushing. I chuckle him and look at the couple to see them staring at continuously, and I just shook my head, smiling. They glance at each other and smirk at third-person POV. After a few days, Jungkook finally got out of the hospital. Taehyung mostly visits Jungkook every day, which made Jungkook likes him even more. When the last day of Jungkook staying in the hospital, Taehyung almost saw Jungkook's face because Jungkook had his mask under his chin, and when Taehyung entered the room, he immediately put it on. Jungkook POV. I just got home from the hospital. When we got inside, I saw Inga full with a Taehyung hug, making me groan since I still have burners. Mom, be careful. He is still not fully healed. Yoongi wanted her, and my mom immediately pulled away and started apologizing non-stop. Mom, stop apologizing. I'm okay. It's just burners. I reassured her to calm down, and she did. Still don't want my baby boy to get hurt, she said, and she pinched my cheeks and I started crying. Mom, it's hard. Liz threw my backpack over my shoulders and I finally left the house. After almost a week and a half of missing school, I am finally coming back. Whoa. I never felt this feeling of waiting to go to school even since I was in kindergarten. I walked out of the house and looked the door. I guess I have to talk alone to school since Yoongi is sick today. and doesn't have any state to go to school. As I was walking, I heard a familiar voice yelling out of my full name. I turned around to see Jimin turning to me and Taehyung falling behind, catching up. Before Jimin could strangle me, I dug making him hug Apollo. Ouch, Jimin mumbled as he rubbed his chin in pain, making me widen my eyes. Oh my god, are you okay, Jimin? I'm sorry, I didn't know there was a polo behind me, causes. Jimin cut off by laughing, and that is okay, making me feel relieved. Hey, how is young? Jimin asked, and his expression changed to a worried one. I checked and said, he is doing fine, not so fine. He kept saying that he just want to see you so he can feel better. I said, and Jimin blushed at the last sentence. Hey guys, we need to go, so else we all will late. Taehyung said, bringing out attention to him. I blushed at the presence since I haven't seen him for days. Oh, hey, Thang, I said and glared at Jimin, who was holding his laugh. Hey, Jungkook, Thang said, looking at me, smiling. We walked up to him, and he walked between me and Jimin at our hands bunched together. While Jimin and Taehyung are talking, I noticed that Taehyung wrapped his hand around mine and hold it tight. I blushed and looked up to Taehyung to see him acting normal, but I noticed a faint red on the tip of his ears. I smiled and looked down as we hold each other's hand until we got separated. Finally, school was over, and Jimin decided to walk on home with me since he wanted to see Yonggi. Taehyung cannot came home with us since he had after school club activity, which made me sad. Hey Jimin, I called for him and he in response for me to continue. Do you think that Taehyung would like me back? I asked him and he suddenly started choking, making me panic and grabbed his water bottle and opened the cap and handed it to him. After he stopped choking and felt better, he turned to me and put his hand on my shoulder. Jungkook, you are really? Jimin said in guilty tone, making me confused. Well, I ask you that because I am planning on confessing my feeling to him, but I also don't wanna get my feeling hurts. I explained, and he nodded, understanding that he had a same expression with Yoongi. Well, that's the in the future now. Can we just go home? I want to see Yoongi. Jimin about while laughing nodded. Jimin Peewee. We finally arrived at Jungkook house and we entered the house. After the unlocked the door, we took our suits off. Then his mom came out of the kitchen and gently hugged Jungkook and tightly hugged me. Where Taehyung? His mom asked us to look behind us to see if Taehyung is here. Oh, he got after school activity, Jungkook said, and she nodded and told me to follow her, and I did. Since she opened the cabinet and grabbed out of the box of mix and handed to me, I thanked her and put on one of the mix and walked upstairs to Youngie's room. I knocked on the door and heard no response, so I slowly opened the door and saw Youngie huddled with blanket all over him. I walked over to him and gently pulled down the blanket. Mingangi, it's me, I said softly, and he lifted his hand up. His hair is messy and his nose is very red, and his eyes seem like they they want to give up. Youngie mumbled and pulled his hand out of me to hold. Let me put your mask on. I opened the mask apart and gently. After putting on his mask, I lied down on the bed, facing him, held his hand that was waiting for me to hold and rubbed my thumbs on the back of his hands. He lifted the blanket from me to join him and went inside the blanket and moved closer to him. We felt each other and maybe I connected. I crossed his cheeks and he leaned in a piqued my lips were most likely the mask. He moved down and laid his on my chest and closed his eyes and he wrapped his arms around me and wrapped my arms around his shoulders and my other hand was playing with his hair. I heard a soft quiet snore, so I thought that he was sleeping. I ran and pulled my phone out and did random things on my phone which cuddling Yogi. No, don't go, Yogi said, grabbing tightly onto my shirt. I looked down softly at him and said, it's already time for me to go home. But Yogi doesn't want to let me go. But Yogi, I called my mom and she said that I need to go home. Yogi, I didn't use the nickname he loves and that I need to go home. I'll try to call him and they still say no. Then I have to leave. He little and pulled my phone out and called my mom again. Hey mom, can I stay for a while because Young won't let me leave? I heard a laugh from the other line and I felt my phone buzzing and I pulled my phone away to see that she's FaceTiming me. I answered the FaceTime call and I look at my screen that you can see my face and a little bit of Young's hair as he is lying his head on my chest, still not letting me go. Oh dear, Jimin, why are you wearing a mask? My mom asked. When she saw a mask. Oh, Min Young is sick, I answered. Oh, wait, is that him? She asked, her eyes. Yeah, I moved her phone away from her to see the back of his head. Hi, Youngie, my mom cheerfully greeted him, but Youngie turned his head around and glared at my mom. My mom seemed to notice it and she, okay, Jimin, can stay the night, my mom said, and Youngie nodded his head yes really fast and turned his head back and scrolling his head into my chest even more and tightly wrapped his arms around and legs around me, making me smile. Thank you, mom, I said, smiling, and she nodded and hugged. Gappa looked down to Youngie and he looks up me and I pull my mask down and pick his forehead and pull my mask up and I can see his eyes smile making me smile. I love you, home. I love you too, Jimina. I invited Jungkook over to my house since Youngie is at college and Taehyung is out of his parents and my parents are at their friend's house. I heard a doorbell and went downstairs. I opened the door, revolving Jungkook. Hey Jungkook, come inside. I greeted him and he came inside and took his shoes off. We went upstairs to my room and decided to play some game. After a while of playing, I pushed some games since we are hungry. As I was picking up the snacks, something came into my mind. So Jungkook, I started and he, when are you gonna show your face to Taehyung? I asked and there was a moment of silence. I don't know, probably after I confess, he answered softly. I turned to him. Take your time, Jungkook. I'm pretty sure he likes you too well. Maybe love instead of like, I said, and he blushed and smiled a little. Suddenly, there was a doorbell, and I found my elbow. Who could that be? I murmured, and Jungkook looked at me in confusion. Then I widened my eyes. I grabbed Jungkook and dragged him into my room. Speaking of Taehyung, he is here. He winded his eyes and was about to say something, but I slammed the door and ran downstairs. I opened the door and Taehyung came in and took his shoes off. Then noticed a pair of shoes that were not Jimin's. He looked at me in someone else here. He asked, and I just started panicking that I just realized that I forgot to give him a mask. Oh, well, Jungkook is here. He murmured and widened his eyes. He's here. Why didn't you tell me? He whispered, shouted. I forgot you were coming. I whispered, shouted back, and he turned. I even forgot to give him a mask. I said, and he said, we walked upstairs. Jungkook POV after Jimin left me alone in his room. I walked to school bed and sat on it. I noticed that my face is revolving and there is chance that Taehyung can see my face. I looked around to find if there is any mask, but sadly there is none. He looked at me. Is someone here else? He asked, and I just started panicking. I decided to go to other side of the bed and sat at the which make my back facing west. The door is I calmly myself and put my head up and played game on my phone and made sure he started acting like I was waiting for Jimin. I heard the door open and close, but I acting like I didn't heard it. I continued playing the game until someone taps my shoulder. I looked up to see Jimin in front of me. Don't worry, he's just using a bathroom. Let's hurry down to get. Don't worry, he is using bathroom. Let's hurry down to get up a mask, Jimin said, and we went downstairs. He reached the top counter and grabbed the box of masks out of the counter and took one out and handed it to me. I grabbed the mask out of his hand and pulled it apart and hooked the separator on my. We went back upstairs and we went inside the room and saw Taehyung sitting on the bed, finding his finger. As he heard the door close, he hesitated and looked up to see us and looked down. I couldn't see the disappointment in his eyes, but I just shrugged off his thing. I'm just imagining. I'm planning to confess to him today. Yes, is that secret feeling ever Jimin and Yoongi cheering up to help me little and felt more confident. I put not Taehyung locker to meet and during lunchtime. It's finally it is finally lunchtime and I waited the courtyard where they barely have any people during lunchtime. I felt someone tap at my shoulder. I turned around to say Taehyung. Oh, Taehyung, I exclaimed and he smiled. So you wanted to tell me something? Taehyung asked and Jungkook nodded and took a deep breath. Well, I got cut up by someone. Taehyung turned around and saw the other friend. Sorry, Jungkook, but I forgot I made plan with my friends. You can tell me later. Taehyung then ran off without me responding. I sighed and looked down the knowing that my mission of confession Taehyung had failed. It's been a month and no matter how hard I tried to confess, it always got to be wrong time where Taehyung needs to go somewhere. I decided to give up and not tell my feeling, but Jimin and Yoongi does not accept that. You can't just give up like that. You know you still have hope, Jimin said, and I said, yeah, but it's always when I didn't make it my third words in the sentence because this guy who is friend with Taehyung kept calling of him. I Minsung sound angry. Well, what about you came? Confess Youngie suggestion thought. How can I never thought about it? I asked him when is he free and he said after school. So I asked him to meet up. I am currently in front of the school gates waiting for Taehyung. We went to the park and sat on the beach. I need to say something. We said it at the same time, and Taehyung look at me. You go? I said, well, I like you, I finally confessed, but dare not to look at Taehyung reaction. I admit that I like you in more than a friendship way. I explained, still looking down. Taehyung POV. I look at Jungkook in but also shockedness. He confessed to me and I didn't say anything to him which make him tear up. I was about to tell him that I also like him well. I love him, but I guess that I don't have to say it first. It's okay that you don't like me back. I just want to say it. Jungkook sniffed and still won't look at me. I smiled softly. Jungkook looked at me. I said softly, but he shook his head. No, it's okay to say that you don't like me because I know that you won't. Jungkook admitted and I signed. I lifted his chin up using my index finger and leaned closer to his face, but I didn't say I don't like you. I pinched the corner of his mask and slowly pulled it down because I love you. And I leaned down more and pulled his mask down more and closed my eyes when finally I feel that he shook and does not know what to do. So I moved my head away from the mask and hold his hand crossing it, but he still didn't me back. I pulled away and looked at his face with no mask. I smiled at how cute he looks without his mask. You look pretty, I said softly, smiling at him as he blushes and looked down and pulling mask back up. I rubbed his cheeks with my hands and take the hook up the mask off and put it in my pocket so he won't put it back on. He pinked and looked around, conversing his face by using his pillow his mouth and nose and cheek and pillow his arm down. It's okay, no one is our school is here. You choose the right place, Jungkook said and noticed. He looked down and not knowing what to do. So you like me back? Jungkook asked. I said, Jungkook, I don't like you, I said harshly. Jungkook POV, how much I actually want to back down right in front of him when he said that, but why did he kiss me? I know that anti streaming thoughts my cheek. Why did he? Said in harshly. I felt a hand crossing my head. I looked at the head and know it was Taehyung. Why he is holding my hand? Because I said that I love you. A frozen tears continue. Taehyung's hand is still crossing my head. I felt a head lifting my head up again. I to look Taehyung. He had a weird expression on his face and he put on hands up my cheeks, wiping my tears away. I looked down at his smirk. You idiot, I thought you actually don't like me back. I remember and he smiled, feeling bad. I looked at him, the eyes when he leaned, capturing my into his again, this time back, and I felt him smiling, thought which also made me smile. We pull away and smile as we light our foreheads together. I love you since I was saw you. I blushed at his confession and my prediction was right that you're really handsome without the mask. I blushed even more and burning my face on his shoulders to cover my red face. Stop. I remember lately chuckle. Let's go home. Taehyung POV, Jimin and I are now walking to the John house. I told him about the confession and the face revolved and he was beyond shocked but was also happy for me. We finally arrived at the house and Mrs. John let us in and we went to sit on the couch. We suddenly heard soft humming sound making us look the owner of the humming, who is Yoongi. Youngie walked to Jimin while humming and dancing and hugging him. Taehyung rolled his eyes and suddenly Mrs. Jan called for me to kitchen. Taehyung, can you bring this to Jungkook. His room is next to the mirror on the right. Mrs. Jan handed me seems like a mask, pill, and water. I went there easily, found his room. I knocked at the door and heard a come in. I opened the door and was amazed by the decoration, but the room is a little messy. Jungkook turned around, widened his eyes. I turned back around to fix his hair, to cover his eyes, and put away the clothes that lie around the floor. He smiled and walked up to him, who is standing next to the bed, looking down and folding his finger. I forced him down to sit on the bed, and I sit on the bed next to him. I stroked his hair away from his eyes. You don't have to cover your face around me anymore, you know, I said softly, and Jungkook nodded. I picked his lips and his cheeks went red, making me smile. Oh, your mom wanted me to give you this. I nodded him a mask, pill, and water. Jungkook signed and mumbled in a thank you, and he grabbed the pill, water, and he put the pill in his mouth and drank water. I looked at his movement and stood up and hugged him. Jungkook flinched and smiled, which made me smile. Even your smile is pretty, I said, and picked his cheeks. We, we walked downstairs and was greeted with Youngie, big Jimmy's forehead face non-stop. Jungkook and Taehyung decided to let them have a moment and left the house. When they walked out the house, Jungkook was about to put his mask on but was stopped by Taehyung taking his mask and put it on his pocket. Jungkook put while Taehyung admiring his features. You look so beautiful, Jungkook, Taehyung completed.